What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. It's hump day. Good morning, Motown investor. You are here bright and early. I posted the live a little late. I had some running around to do this morning, so I was just trying to give y'all a little time to get over here and get in, get your notifications and things. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little ditty and get myself together. It's caffeinated time. I'm on number two. So, it is what it is. It's hump day, y'all. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. My hump, my hump, my lovely lady lump. How's y'all's humps today? Um, 9:15 works for me. 9:15, child. I still be trying to get my thing together. 10:15. So, and this is the thing. Was starting at 10, you know what I'm saying? And then, people was like, I feel like if you gotta be at work at 10, it take you a minute to, get your things settled or whatever it is you're doing. And I'll be here at 10:15. But if you're ready at 9:15, girl, I'll go ahead and turn on the music. You could play it in the background and you'll be here early when I get here. I have clients like that. It's okay because I'm usually the get to work 10 to 15 minutes early kind of person. I it's too stressful to be late for work. So, every now and then though I'll have those clients and they're usually older people that will be sitting there when I get there. But it's cool. I'm started at 10:15 and okay, I'm lying. It's 10:24 and here we go. And it's just you and me. You get on your treadmill. I walk in the morning and right now it's cool because, Florida springs don't last very long. But I feel like it's like in the winter, great time to walk. We only have a couple few days where the cold is doing a little bit too much. But in the summertime, unless I walk out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes, and first of all, I'm not walking out, when it's still dark because the animals from last night ain't went back into where they're supposed to get into. One day I was walking down the street. Good morning, high vibe. I was walking down the street. I started my morning walk. It was a little like, sun coming up kind of thing. And a deer went flying past me trying to get back to wherever the hell he was supposed to get back to. So I like to wait till the sun come up, let the wildlife go and do out the way. But when it gets too hot, it can be like, 6:30 in the morning and it's already muggy. So I do think, ooh, it took me a long time to get to that. I do think a good investment for me is going to be a treadmill because I just really, walking is where I get my thinking done. And, anyway, high vibe. Are you caffeinated this morning? What you got going on? Smoothie, mocha matcha? Um, let's get into the thing. We're gonna start here. This was on my spirit today. Um, I'm gonna try as hard as I can to live by this. I do for the most part. You are what you do and not what you say you'll do. I get really uncomfortable um committing to things before it's already in action. You know what I'm saying? I like to talk about what I'm doing and not what I'm gonna do. And I would prefer dealing with people that come from the same place. If you're not going to do what you said you're going to do, only so many sorries. You know what I mean? You can only say sorry so many times. Sorry, sorry. I was going to do it. I was going to change. I was going to be this. I was going to be that. You can only do that so many times before people, And when I say people, I mean me, because I think we all have a different level of being a forgiver. Some people are not forgiving, straight out the box. You know what I'm saying? Zero tolerance. I'm not a zero tolerance kind of person. Zero. You said cinnamon tea with lemon. That sounds like my evening afternoon drink. High vibe. I'm a tea girl, especially this time of year, because when the pollens and things get out here doing whatever they're doing, I need tea to kind of soothe my soul. But yeah, I think, I'm not a zero tolerance kind of person. I definitely am the kind of person who believes that people deserve um, another chance. and maybe even another chance. It depends on the situation. Good morning, El Cid. El Cid says, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel because, why not? We are so dope over here and we just beginning to get more and more dope. I'm finding that I really look forward to talking to you guys, even if there's not a whole lot to talk about, but we can always make that happen. God forgives. I do sometimes. See, I feel like my girl El Cid, she might be one of those. I won't say zero tolerance, but I don't feel like she's gonna tolerate too much foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. But and I feel like I need a little more of that. Sometimes though, when the heart gets involved and you know, I have had, in my role as a teacher, I have had students that, I'm like, go, come on, come on, come on. We can get you over. We can get you over, this hurdle. We can do it. We can do it. And so, I feel like if in my mind, I don't believe this person is going to do it, I'm not going to really bullshit them. You know what I'm saying? But if I feel like in my mind that you really can do it and whatever the obstacle is not that difficult, then I'm going to cheer you on. And I probably, allow for more sorries than I probably should. But I just feel like, for my own self, I want to, what did Wendy say? Say what I mean is mean what I say. Um, I'm a lady, stone heart. Too many excuses from folks. Low tolerance. Yeah, this is El Cid is the yin to my yang. Literally, when we go on our astrology board, that's what it is. So I get that. And so, I mean, maybe that's where the balance comes in. I feel like I may be too tolerant to a lot of, things a lot of the times. And I come across, I think, as a very strong person. I speak about being in a classroom because that's the one place that, that I was in authority. Your kids gonna run over you. I just feel like, that's just how life is. And it's in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So, you could go to somebody's house and the way they're raising their kids, and you're like, oh, not in my house, but everybody's got their thing where, their kids, like my kids they act like there's not a place for things in the refrigerator. And they are grown adults. And I don't understand why they go to my refrigerator and just stick things in there random wherever they see a spot. And I open the refrigerator and, drives me crazy. But, these are things we tolerate. But they're my kids and that's different. At work, I feel like I have very low tolerance at work. And I feel like I come across a lot of times as a person who is not necessarily easy to get to know. And you would be accurate. I'm not, unless I like you. So if you're giving me vibes, doing too much, I'm probably going to put up a wall. Kids get more. Let me see. We talk about kids over here a lot because they stay in the news. Kids get more, but I have tough love for them too. Mom is not to rescue all the time. You're right. You're right. And I'm weak when it comes to my kids. I remember my daughter at one point wanting to consider going the beauty industry route. She does like doing nails. She's definitely not a hair person, but she was like, I want to come to your school and I want to be in your class. And I was like, absolutely not. Those people respect me in there. If you come in there, you're gonna ruin everything. My image will be trash. So yeah, I do. I don't know. My kids are adults and they're good people. And so, you know what I mean? I feel like I did my job. Career choices and all of that stuff. I got to get my charger, so I might sound a little bit far away. Career choices and all of the stuff, relationship choices, those are things they have to learn on their own. But I feel like as a parent, if I raise people, to be good people, you know what I'm saying? And, they'll figure out how to take care of their own self. And yeah, so when it comes to them, I guess, I'm mushy and putty. What'd you say, Elsa? Don't come to my desk. I ain't asked for anyone at work. You have an interesting relationship with your work people, Elsa, but I feel like I have the same. Um, in this current environment, I told y'all the people I like don't speak English, so it ain't a whole lot of conversations going on unless I'm talking to my client. But pray for me. I got things, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do, but I got things that I'm aspiring to do, manifesting in things. So yeah, y'all that are here, pray for me. Whatever you do, say a little shout out, put me in your thoughts in terms of getting to this next level. And we'll leave it right there. Now that I'm charged up, let's see. They try to talk to me right now, but I'm having coffee time. Resting. That is hilarious. I feel you though. I walk with my headphones. People people I like don't speak English. It's true. And you know what's funny? Hi vibe. I've been in this situation. My Spanish is little to none, and I've still not had a very hard time communicating with people that don't speak English. And one thing I will say about the Spanish community, they work way harder to learn English than we do to learn Spanish. And I'm in an environment I've had students that couldn't speak English, and we managed to get through, and I was their favorite teacher. So you can find a way to communicate with people on a level, are we cool? Are we too angsty? Are we doing too much? I think those things I'll translate without verbal language. But yeah, I do the same thing, El Cid. Hola, ¿cómo está? Muy bien. ¿Y tú? See, I can get to there, and then after that, after that, it gets sketchy. Oh, buenos dias, buenos tardes. I can do the little thing, but even that, it's an effort to communicate. So, como se llama? I hear that all the time. I don't know. See how you stumped me right there? Don't get fancy. I definitely feel like I need to put in more effort, but yeah, in my environment, it is, I work for somebody else, so it is what it is. And Karen one, Karen two. So that's where it's at. And I don't do good at fake. It's very, very hard. And I realize when you work in a corporate environment, or that's why I've never been able to be corporate, because you have to have an element of that, code switching on all the time. And in my industry, I have the luxury of, I only got to deal with the person in my chair. The rest of y'all is irrelevant at this point. I'm seriously considering a Spanish immersion vacation. Um, like to where? For me, it's like my neighborhood. Oh my god. Um, you say I'm fake every day. I pretend like the tea. I have one of my very best friends is high up in a. She's a pharmacist, so she's very, like, she has positions like VP of these pharmaceutical companies. But sometimes, like, when I'm talking to her, and she's also a graduate of a HBCU. So and now that I have this on my mind, we way off subject, but anyway, we talking. Um, I did speak to her because she's a cancer survivor, and like we talk a lot about black people in medicine and that kind of thing, and we did talk about her coming over here one morning to kind of discuss some things in the medical field that we may or may not know. I know it's be interesting to me. Um, so yeah, y'all let me know. I'm, planning to have a guest over here one morning. So I know some days y'all are more busy than others. Just let me know like what would be a good day of the week to have somebody over. Hump day, Thursday, is our last day, and I'll coordinate something with her. But I definitely I'm gonna have her come over and share some things um with you guys. Mexico, love Mexico. Yeah, Mexicans is different than Puerto Ricans, though. So, but I like Mexico. Mexico is just so when you leave out of them resort areas, you know at your own risk. I do love Mexico though. And you know, when you go to the resort again, you're dealing with people that are so freaking nice. It's just a matter of like how you know, what your energy is, what you own when you run across somebody. You say you've never been, you're only choosing Mexico because you're thinking of living there. Wow. Hmm, that's cool. I often wonder like where next. I never even thought about living outside the country until now. You know, traveling outside the country is one thing, but yeah, that's so cool. Hmm. And once I get past this hump, I might need to start manifesting some new things. That's very dope. Um, Keep us posted on your journey. Anyway, so yeah, let's um let's do what we say we're gonna do. And I mean let's show people what we're doing rather than talking about it and not being about it. Let's get into the things. If I could, you know, figure out how to work, you know, the computer. It's my first day. Bear with me. Oh my god. User error is, you know, I should just put that on a t-shirt. That's my new name. User error. Ah, let's get started. So, Forbes magazine names Howard University the number one HBCU in the nation. Howard University is once again receiving national recognition after Forbes names the Washington, D.C. institution the number one historical Black college or university in the country. According to Howard University, Forbes ranked Howard as the top HBCU in its 2026 American Top Colleges list. Marked the second year in a row, the university has earned the distinction. The ranking follows Forbes' 2024 to 25 list, where Howard was also recognized as the leading HBCU in the nation. Forbes College rankings elevate schools based on outcomes such as return on investments. Yes, that's very important. If I'm going to go to Howard, how likely am I going to, you know, be employed after I leave here and not with, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debts and things of that nature? Um, Student debt, graduation performance, alumni salaries, and postgraduate success. I mean, if you're going to invest in any institution, I don't care what it is, all of these things should matter to you. And these are things kids need to know going into school, besides like my mom and dad went there. Um, these are really important things for them to know. I don't care if you're going to the community college. You need to know, is it going to be a good return on your investment? Are you going to leave out of there with a lot of debt? You know what I'm saying? And you can't like make money in order to clear the debt. Graduation, how many people graduate from there? Do they go in? You know, what's the numbers of how many go in and how many leave out based on various reasons? Alumni salaries, how much money are the people making in this workforce that went to school there? Like, did they go to Howard and now they're waiting tables down at, you know, the bar and grill? Because that's what a lot of people end up doing. And we talked about it yesterday. Make sure you know what you even want to do before you go to college. Postgraduate success. You know, these are all things. Write it down, moms, dads, children. If you have kids that are thinking of going to school, or if you're thinking of going to school, you know, putting yourself through some type of training, then is it, you know, these are good things to know prior to, you know, it's been a lot of money thrown around. You know, we hear talk about these people, these philanthropists that are donating, you know, millions of dollars to these colleges. Howard, what do them dorms look like? Let me finish this, and then maybe I'll get my answer. Do we trust Forbes? Everybody like uses Forbes as the bar. Do we trust them? I think Forbes needs to be investigated. I feel like every time somebody say Forbes said it, all of a sudden it's gold. I don't know. I don't know about Forbes. I mean, I do, but I don't. So let's, check their credentials and see if they, make any sense, or if they're not just promoting their friends based on how much money they got, because that's how the media is working lately. Probably always, but more so lately. Anyway, Forbes college rankings elevate the schools based on outcomes such as, oh, I read all of that. Oops, I got so caught up on Forbes, I was going to go back in. In addition to Forbes, Howard said Lincoln also recognized the university as the #1 HBCU in the country in August 2025, adding to a strong year of national rankings for the institution. What is the first comment? I just Googled it, and most definitely still Spelman. See what I'm saying? I don't know the Spelman like all of them. I don't even want to get into, because they're always going to be Spelman, Morehouse. Those are always going to be high on the list. And all I'm saying is, when you go into any university, you need to know, if it's going to be worth your money. Now, they didn't mention them dorms, but them dorms was falling apart and moldy and all of that kind of stuff. And if we're going to want these kids to go over here, and we got, all these people, philanthropists, like I said, which from what I can tell are mostly white. Now, I won't say mostly, but a lot of them that they're talking about publicly. Anyway, you're getting a lot of coin, but make the kids feel like they're on the high end over there. Y'all, and as far as somebody, the commenter saying that she just Googled it and it's Spelman. That's why I said it's Forbes. I would love to be a fly on a wall in one of these rooms. I mean, yeah, where these people are and putting, caviar on crackers and things, and discussing how, well, my son went here. That's how them shits are determined. Forbes. Y'all having a conversation about Mexico. I love that. Did Howard University give Diddy his money back? They should be embarrassed to have Diddy's name attached to them. They have bigger fish to fry. Sometimes these are paid endorsements. Yeah. That's what I feel like, High Vibe. That's why I was saying that, because, people are like, I'm on Forbes. What's the name? Pinky is on Atlanta. Talk about she on Forbes. Forbes said this, and Portia said Forbes was, calling her. She did an interview. She got an interview or article coming out with Forbes magazine, to discuss her businesses. And so I'll be looking for that. That article, I'll be able to find that online. But I was like, Portia's on Forbes? Maybe. I want to hear the details, but it feels like, she just took her big old booty in the right room with somebody and had a discussion with somebody. Top HBCUs are Spelman, Morehouse, Howard, and Hampton, as they always have been. And I get it. Like I said, if you decide to go to Howard for whatever reason, I mean, Howard is in DC, which is a very cool city to go in. If I were a student considering going to an HBCU, Howard would definitely be on my list. Spelman and Morehouse are in the hood. It's so freaking hood. Like, I wish the experience was different. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the location. So I don't know that there's anything they can do about that, but they can maybe like update security. I don't know. I haven't been over to the campus in a really long time, but I know that neighborhood, has trashed. She says she just went over there, and it's in a lot of universities are bad neighborhoods, but I think if they're going to be spending that money, that part definitely needs to get better. Howard University got Nick Cannon and DJ Envy, and he got real estate cases. Well, Diddy, who else? Nick Cannon, DJ Envy. Howard got some cleaning up to do in it. I don't think Forbes is going to do it for him. They're going to need to put out, what did that list say? Let me see. Gonna need to show us alumni salaries. That that's a good information to have. But we want to talk about that postgraduate success and see like who are they affiliating themselves with. And at the end, how is it going to benefit me the most? Do I want to stand in the room with DJ Envy? No. But somebody might, depending on what it is they got going on. You said I'm gonna stay quiet about my thoughts on HBCUs. I did not attend a HBCU, but I feel like any university as a whole, whether it be Howard, Yale, Princeton, Spelman, Morehouse, it can be really good or not good at any given time. So, and that's just based on the administration that's in there at the time. I think some people have some really great experiences coming out of HBCUs. Right now, the whole program needs to be cleaned up. And I'm talking about universities as a whole. People, regardless of what institute you decide you want to go to, are spending their money because college. You get in 11th grade and they be like, college. And then you ain't picked your drawers off the floor. You know what I'm saying? Your socks are, you can't find your socks. And, you want me to make a decision about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. There's a small group of people who have that because for whatever reason, some people kind of know what direction they want to go in, but that's a minimal amount of people. I think most people don't have any freaking clue. They just know I went to go visit the University of Florida and they were trying to sell me a psychology major. And I'm like, for what? What do I do with that? Like, it seems to be a popular thing at the time. I had no clue. I ended up where I was supposed to be because when I went there, I knew like, this isn't what I'm trying to do. I don't even like school. I'm not bad at school, but I don't like it. I want to now, I finished like, the big four, math, arithmetic, reading, history, science. I've done that. Now I want to like pursue something that I enjoy, and you need time to figure that out. Unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something where you already, know what it is. Let's see what you got saying over here. So why did they need to tell us about Howard? It's an advertisement. Yeah, Howard used to be in the middle of crack empire in the 90s. I heard it's gotten yeah, all of these universities are in bad spaces. So for me, if I'm thinking about sending my kid there, that I would like to see some of that. I don't want to hear Forbes say how, whatever this ad is, this paid for ad where Chuck and Bob stood in like I said, a room dinner party. Good morning, Lotus Egyptian Flower. A&T, Aggies, North Carolina should be number one. And I believe that, those big four have always been the big four. And I think there are other universities out here and you should be, that's why you go visit different places. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what Forbes got to say. Like from what I'm seeing, Forbes, don't always have it right. And that's not necessarily going to be in your budget. Like all of those things. If I'm spending 20, 30,000, I would like to be able to get at least graduate from school and make enough money to, you know what I'm saying, to get a return on my investment. If I'm spending 60, 700,000, my expectations are going to be much higher. And you know what I'm saying? And so I'm not trying to live in the hood. My education, I went to fashion school. And this was back in the late 80s, early 90s, but I went to fashion school and the education didn't like put me in debt. You know what I'm saying? It was a good investment in myself. I still practice all of these things that I went to school for. So I don't feel like I lost. But had I gone to University of Florida and studied psychology, I probably wouldn't have made it past my freshman year. I probably would have been like, I don't want to do this. Hi, Bob. You said you're an alumni of Tuskegee University HBCUs are a give and take situation. I wanted to go to an art school, and my parents said no, so I rebelled and said I'm leaving with something. See, that's exactly would have been my destiny. High vibe. If I had done that, like I said, if I had gone to University of Florida or FAMU, which honestly, that wasn't even on my mindset because I didn't know if I wanted to stay in Florida. So, you know, being in Gainesville, my mother lived in Ocala, that just felt like I wasn't doing nothing. And the University of Florida environment, quite frankly, was a little too white for me. I wasn't trying to do that. And so I found my college in the back of an Elle magazine, and it's like I said, it's art and fashion, and I liked school on that note. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give kids time to figure out what they even want to do. My daughter, she needs to go ahead now that she's getting settled in motherhood. I feel like I want her to go and study agriculture because that's always been her thing since she was a child. Fort Valley HBCU has a whole prostitution ring allegedly. Oh my God, Elsid. Oh my God, I shouldn't be laughing. We got to start at ground zero. Whew. Man, this world we living in. Let's get on to the next subject because because there's more of that foolishness, honestly, to talk about. Um, let's talk about this. 1 in 5 college graduates regret their major, according to the recent survey. So, 1 in 5 college graduates regret their major. A recent ZipRecruiter survey of 3,000 recent and soon to be college graduates discovered that about 20% regret their choice of major, with political science, international relations, and public policy at the top of that list. And I mean, liberal arts fields dominate the regret ranking, while nursing stands out, and they want to take that away. They want to take that away as a profession, or at least, yeah. While nursing stands out with high job placement rates and top the median starting pay, the findings come amid the tight job market and shifting career priorities for new entrants to the workforce. Nursing majors arose as a bright spot in the survey, with nearly 1/3 securing employment before graduation. Wow. And I think a lot of those courses is hard to get into sometimes. The field not only benefits from strong demand driven by the aging U.S. population, but also offers the highest median starting salary among surveyed majors at 70,000, and they earn every bit of it too, highlighting the value of healthcare degrees in uncertain labor conditions. Wow. Let me just read this first comment. Some kids are told just to go to college no matter what the major. It's true. It's true. Some parents just want them to go because it's what's expected of them. Yep. That's exactly what we were just saying. So, so many fake jobs on ZipRecruiter. I don't believe this article. I believe it. I do. I think those are statistics that are easy to find out. That makes sense. How many people know what they want in 18? It's ridiculous. Go to work for 4 years and figure it out. Unless you know. Um, I don't believe ZipRecruiter, Elsid, necessarily, but I believe this article though, because it just makes sense. And especially with the majors that they're pushing them to. It's the same thing I said they did with me. Back when I graduated, everybody was psychology. Just go to school and get a psychology major. And I was like, and do what? What I mean, um here are the ones that they're pushing. Political science. Who want to do that? International relations. Some people want to do that, but I mean, how many people do you know that are in international relations? Those are rare jobs, where people, that takes a lot of school and a lot of travel, a lot of money. These are all majors for people with a lot of money. Public policy at the top of the list. What? That's the major. So I'm going to school to major in public policy. I feel the same about that as I did about psychology. The regret is related to the return on their investment. Yep, because they went in there, or um, they went in there, they talked to, even if they get schools counselors, you have to go with, I feel like, a life experience. You don't even know what you like. Okay, so anyway, interesting to think about. Now, I was gonna go back for what'd you say? Go back for public policy. You were going to go back for public policy when? Now that you're an adult and you've lived some life and you know like what you want to do, or you were going to go there back when you were going to school? And again, Elsie, you're special. And I mean that in a good way. Not everybody is interested in intellect in the same way that you are. A lot of kids are just, they just don't know. They're just going to school and they just don't know. If that's an interest, that you already have, that's one thing. Um, I didn't took my glasses off. Yeah, because I wanted to be Dr. Sid. Oh, you better ask us it. You get your doctorate later on though. Like I get what you're saying, but I also feel like if you're just a kid that's like not sure and you go into the college, the recruiter, and they try to get you to spend your money, they want you to spend your money on something like that you're probably not interested in. So halfway through, you got to change your major somehow to something that you may or may not really like, but you don't like this. And so it keeps the money train going. And then you'd be like, she been in school since she's 30 now. What is she doing? That's what happens. And you have a humongous school bill. You have a humongous school bill and nothing to show for it. Anyway, college, university, it all needs to be revisited and, reimagined. I feel like throwing money into old school stuff, including the HBCUs. Everybody put your hands on the table. Like it's got to make sense. And it doesn't take that much money to put these kids in a safe environment based on the millions and millions of dollars that these places are getting and doing what with. This article came up the other day. My daughter, she just has some dentistry work done. And we got on the conversation of anesthesia. And she was asking me like, oh my God, the stuff that they give you in the dentist to put you out, like who came up, like how did they come up with this, these drugs for anesthesia in the beginning? And I said, they practiced on Black women. And, it like put things into perspective for her. And then this article came up today. So, they taught Black women couldn't feel pain. So they used their bodies to build modern medicine. This is the story of Anarcha, Westcott, Lucy, and Betsy. They taught that Black women couldn't feel pain, so a doctor named J. Marion Sims used their bodies to build modern gynecology. Anarcha Westcott endured at least 30 surgeries without anesthesia. Lucy screamed through an hour-long operation as a room full of doctors watched. Betsy was next. None of them consented. None of them had a choice. Their enslavers signed off, not them. Sims went on to have statues, erected in his honor. These women were nearly erased from history. A monument in their name now stands in Montgomery, Alabama, but the medical field was built on their suffering, has never truly reckoned with what was done to them. Say their names. Anarcha West, I hope I'm saying that right. Anarcha Westcott, Lucy, and Betsy. The men who enslaved Anarcha weren't looking for a cure of out of compassion. They wanted her fixed because she could no longer do hard labor that earned them money. So they handed her over to a doctor named J. Marion Sims. I think when kids are being taught, and obviously they're taking this out of the schools, but I think when kids are being taught, they're not realizing exactly how horrible it was. All they know is picking cotton. Picking cotton, that's what being a slave was. That's what they teach in school. They don't teach you that these women, enslaved women were basically used for medical experiments because this one Anarcha was no longer, like, she wasn't good making me no money, so let's use her over here as practice with no anesthesia. Anarcha wasn't the only one. Sims operated on at least 7 enslaved black women and girls in Montgomery between 1845 and 1849. Though the experiments caused excruciating pain, he legally needed permission only from the women's enslavers, not from the women themselves. They had no voice, they had no choice. Crazy. The first woman he cut open was 18-year-old Lucy. Patients were completely naked, asked to perch their knees and bend forward onto their elbows. Lucy endured an hour-long surgery, screaming and crying out in pain, as nearly a dozen other doctors watched. Sims later wrote Lucy's agony was extreme. Lucy nearly died from severe infection caused by his methods. He wrote, "I thought she was going to die. It took Lucy 2 or 3 months to recover entirely from the effects of the operation. He kept going anyway." He's fucking crazy. Sorry. Then came Betsy. Like Lucy, she was naked on the operating table and given no anesthesia. Her injury was not repaired either. The local medical community called Sims a failure and pulled their support. Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy were left in his control because without a cure, their enslavers considered them useless. So, you didn't just get to retire from slavery, you were donated to medical research. Anarcha endured at least 30 surgeries at the hands of Sims as he attempted to repair a painful opening between her bladder and vagina caused by trauma of childbirth. 30 operations without anesthesia on a teenager. 30 operations. Gosh. This was made possible by a lie. Physicians widely promoted the myth that Black women were less sensitive to pain than white women. Are we still dealing with this nonsense today? Unfortunately, maybe not to this extreme, but for God's sakes, that lie is what allowed this to happen. And that same lie shaped the medical treatment of Black women for generations after. Can somebody send this to Dr. Jackie, just so a reminder? Sims was celebrated for his achievements. Statues were erected in his honor in New York City Central Park, at the South Carolina State House, and outside his formal medical school in Philadelphia. The women he had experimented on, history barely recorded their names. In 2021, artist Michelle Browder toured the country collecting discarded metal objects, which she welded into a 15-foot memorial to Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy. The Mothers of Gynecology Monument now stands in Montgomery, Alabama, as part of a wider effort to bring awareness to the Mothers of Gynecology movement. That's a beautiful work of art. Wow. That's amazing. So why, let me see what y'all are saying. I left it. Dr. L said, you said, hope the city has that in their statute because them DC folks will take it down. Um, it's in Montgomery. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking it down, but that monument is beautiful. You said I stopped by a cotton farm so my kids got to understand exactly what it was. I mean, I told y'all how, it affected the girls were much younger, but when me and my son were traveling and and through Georgia and he seen the cotton, he was like, "Is that cotton?" In that movie, I don't know why that affected me so much. In that movie, Sinners, the cotton in the background is just, but that's what I said. They talk about picking cotton all the damn time. You would think that's what slavery was. 30 operations. Have you read the book A Medical Apartheid? High five, you need to send me like a list of some of the good books that you have read so I can get caught up. Have you read the book Medical Apartheid? I haven't not, but my understanding is it details the history of Black bodies being used in medical research and healthcare disparities. I feel like I have not read it, no, but at least now I know about it. I feel like this is a really good time to not necessarily, I mean, if you got a library, you got a library, but we always, when I was growing up, there was always a lot of books, you know, on different things. Half of them, you know what I mean? And my mother kept a lot of medical books, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you can get information um, at home. So, and she wanted to be a nurse. Maybe that's why. But I just remember being able to, in my own house, go to the bookshelf. Of course, we had encyclopedia. We need some different, version of the encyclopedia just because we have the internet now. But I think that right there, medical apartheid, that's definitely a good book to have. And then when your kids have, 5 books in the summer they need to read, or for whatever reason, like I said, for my own benefit, I need to, I can't talk about it with my family, my young, my next generation. I can't talk about it and make them be aware if I don't know about it. So, yeah. Anyway, what else we got going on? That statue is, like I said, that would definitely be something I would be interested to see, but I have no reason to go to Montgomery, Alabama. I bet you could get a painting though of it, but definitely dope. This lady went around and collected scraps of metal, and that's what she came up with. Whew. I feel like the more you know, the more you know. Um, Michael Jackson is, in the conversation again. He comes up every so now and then, but this one I thought was a good thing. Paris Jackson said that her father, Michael Jackson, used books as currency during their childhood. If she and her brother wanted a toy, they had to earn it through reading. Want 5 toys from FAO Schwarz or Toys R Us? Read 5 books. And Michael would quiz them on every single one. I really like this. This is probably one of the best things I've heard about Michael Jackson's parenting. Um, Paris Jackson has confirmed that her father, Michael Jackson, used books as currency during their childhood. If she and her brother wanted toys, they had to earn them through reading. Want 5 books from FAO Schwarz or Toys R Us? Read 5 books. And Michael would quiz them on every single one. Paris said the lesson was about teaching them the difference between earning something and simply expecting it. It's earning it. It's not just being entitled to certain things. It's working hard for it. It's an accomplishment. That mindset stayed in her into adulthood. She's spoken openly about refusing to coast on her father's name, working for everything she has. Um, Not only are you, but you're gaining something in the process, depending on what book it is. I definitely think that's we were talking about disciplining, how these parents are disciplining, the children. I think that's a great idea. You said great about Michael because we always knew him hanging blanket. Oh, blanket hanging over the balcony. Michael was like, we, you know what though? I mean, we saw him do it because he's Michael Jackson. He was hanging that baby over the balcony. But if you go on TikTok, you see dads doing so much stupid stuff. That's like, I mean, the nature of, of a man being in charge of the children. They do stupid shit like hang them over the balcony, like that shit's funny. And then people were like, no, Michael, pick up the baby. Anyway, good morning, T. I love this. I definitely think I want to implement this and to some of my own lifestyle. Shout out to Michael. We ain't saying nothing bad about you today, Michael. We talk about, Michael, you on one hand, don't hang the babies over the balcony. On the other hand, earning, toys through reading books is, then your kids come out, they come out like these kids. Maybe these kids was over here reading, driver's ed books because they knew what to do. So, okay. Over here in Mississippi, these kids on these school buses have just had one rough year and we just getting started. I'm ready for summertime so these kids can get a break off the damn school bus. These Mississippi students sprung into action when they noticed something off with the bus driver. About 40 students were on board at the time when the driver, Lee Taylor, had an asthma attack. Before she could reach for her inhaler, she blacked out. 12-year-old Jackson, sitting directly behind the bus driver, noticed her drifting off and jumped in to help steer the bus and asked his fellow schoolmates to call for help. 12-year-old Darius then hopped in, moving the bus into the median. Woo, a whole bus. Whoa. Hitting the brakes and putting it in park. These kids was like, teamwork makes the dream work. Everybody grab something. The lady is hunched all the way over. Oh my God. Whew. As this driver slowly tried to regain consciousness, 15-year-old Destiny noticed her holding a nebulizer. She assembled and administered the medication while another student held up the bus driver's head. The driver made a full recovery and the kids are truly heroes. See what I'm saying? This lady, this young girl, Destiny, she should probably consider nursing when she go ahead and go to college. We don't know. We don't want to try to figure out her life, but that was very natural for her to slide on in there and help that lady. This is so cute and terrible at the same damn time. Woo! Can you imagine? Okay, so many things here. 40 kids on the bus, for goodness sake. That's a lot of children. She owed them her You said these kids probably drove buses on GTA. Do they have buses on GTA? Listen, all three of my kids have played GTA. I know my son was a teenager and I went past his room and he's 38 now. So I'm sure it's come a long way. But I was like, where are you playing? I heard somebody say something, stopping, picking up some hoes. And I was like, I don't like that game. These kids drive four-wheelers. They have the concept of driving. Yeah. Lucky for her, they do. But I mean, it's one thing to be doing it on your video game. Four-wheelers and a bus. I have never driven a bus. I've driven a U-Haul truck, and that's difficult. Woo-wee. It's I love though how they all kind of jumped into the right positions. Everybody, probably the young lady in the pink. Somebody was over there like, you go over here, you hit the brake. Darius, you drive the car because your ass be the one with the four-wheeler on the weekend. She'll grow up to be a respiratory therapist. I mean, can we put nurse back on professional? Is this right here an example? We need to take this down to the administration. See this right here? These kids right here, this is why we need nurses. So give them their scholarships. Love this. I love to hear a good positive story. You said Mississippi means they've been driving since 5. Yeah, they've been driving tractors and things. So as soon as their feet can reach the pedal. 40 kids is a lot. Like, how many ages were on the bus? 12, 15. Is that middle school? You're not 12 in high school, but you're 15 in high school. I don't know how they do it in Mississippi. But anyway, shout out to these kids. They all figured it out, and, you know, hell with the school bus, because too many problems. Somebody need to get down to the school and find out. Okay, school bus driver. I mean, the last lady was like trying to jump railroad tracks, but if you have asthma, put that thing in your pocket. We can't wait on you to black out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the lady shouldn't have her job, but 40 kids as usual for the school bus. And my kids didn't take the bus. So this sounds like, I mean, I'm thinking as a driver, if I have 40 people behind me, I'll be somewhere stressed out, smoking a cigarette, and I don't smoke. Okay. Some people be doing too much. There needs to be some type of medium, or you know, everybody is not made out to be around children. This is crazy. A West Memphis, if we ain't in Mississippi, we in Memphis, child. A West Memphis, Arkansas teacher is now facing charges after a situation with a student reportedly turned physical over being called bruh. Memphis, Arkansas. Okay, I didn't know there was a Memphis in Arkansas also. According to the police, 56-year-old Tracy Matthews, a teacher at Wonder Junior High School, was arrested and hit with an aggravated assault charge after an incident inside a classroom on April 15th. Authorities say it's all caught on surveillance video. It's a good thing these classrooms got surveillance. The report claims things started when the student told Matthews, bruh, I don't have a computer. Matthew allegedly replied, I'm not your bruh, I'm your sir. But when the student responded, my bad, little bruh, you little asshole, police say Matthews grabbed the student by his shirt and pushed him into the desk. Now, come on now. It didn't stop there. Police say the student tried to walk out, but Matthews followed him, allegedly grabbing him by the neck, pushing him against a wall, and choking him to the point the student had trouble breathing. Where's his daddy? The student reported everything to the principal, who reviewed the footage and contacted the police. If he needed to call the police, good grief. Matthew was then arrested and charged. What did he think was going to happen? Did he go in, you know, didn't have his coffee, traffic was bad, and he was like, I'm going to fuck up one of these kids today? Because he knows what types of kid he's teaching. This isn't, you know, he knows the vibe. This is not his first day. The school district says they're aware of the situation and called it an isolated incident, but wouldn't confirm if Matthews is still employed. They kill me with that. One local resident didn't hold back, saying teachers should never put their hands on students, no matter what was said, and that anger is no place in the classroom. Let's just listen to this news report.
Aggravated assault for an incident involving a student. 56-year-old Tracy Matthews was allegedly caught on camera choking a child at Wonder Junior High School. WRG's Raven Copeland has reaction from a resident who's calling for accountability.
Tracy Matthews, a teacher at Wonder Junior High School, faces an aggravated assault charge for allegedly putting his hands on a student on April 15th. West Memphis police say the confrontation started in a classroom and was caught on surveillance video. According to the police report, it all started when the student told Matthews, quote, bruh, I don't have a computer. Matthews then responded with, quote, I'm not your bruh, I'm your sir. When the student said, quote, my bad, little bruh, police say Matthews grabbed the student by his shirt and pushed him against a desk.
They're not supposed to just put their hands on the kids like that because they call him bruh. He is a bruh.
The police report shows the student then walked out and was followed by Matthews, who allegedly grabbed him by his neck, pushed him against the wall, and choked him, making it hard for him to breathe.
He shouldn't have never put his hands on a student like that, and he's a teacher too. What kind of discipline that is for the rest of the community, you know?
The student reported the incident to the principal, who then obtained surveillance video and contacted West Memphis police, who arrested Matthews. A resident who lives near the school says he wants Matthews to be held fully accountable.
And what he should do is just be fired and be put in jail for disciplining the minor. Anger should be left at home and not in the school, not in the workplace.
In a statement, the West Memphis School District says it's aware of the, quote, isolated incident and, quote, appreciates its partnership with the West Memphis Police Department, which helps contribute to the safety of all district schools. Reporting from West Memphis, Arkansas, for your news leader, Raven Copeland, WREG News Channel 3.
Now, I can tell you, we also asked the school district if Matthews is still employed at Wood Junior High School, but a spokesman for the district says he's unaware about Matthews' current employment status. Arrested and charged with aggravated assault for an incident involving a student.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. No, he is a bro. Bro choke. Bro choke me, not a child. Listen, like I said, I have had students before who were just assholes. And I would go in, and with the mindset of, I hate this class. I'll be glad when they're done. Like, school teachers have a whole year. I had 3 months as an educator. That's why I would prefer teaching grown people, but you are in a, middle school, whatever, and you know how these kids are. And I think it takes a different kind of person to be an educator. You got to meet them where they're at, not choke them out. But you know what I'm saying? There has to be protocol for that. I would have just called, text. I'm sure that people communicate through text. I would have texted and said, this little nigga's in here being disrespectful. Can somebody come remove him from my class so I can, move forward with the kids that are trying to learn? No, he's the teacher, not a bruh. That's part of the problem. They think it's funny to disrespect authority figures. I agree, high five, but we can't choke them out. You know what I'm saying? There definitely has to be, you got to get these kids respect. Sometimes that's more difficult than others. And I feel like if you have somebody repeatedly, we're going to have to sit down with his parents. Because we need to find out, like, do he call you bruh at home? Because I need you to understand that when he comes in here, that's not okay. So, yeah, mom, dad, we know dad probably not there. So we're going to put it on mom. But mom, you got to do something about this. Next thing you know, your son going to be stomp kicking some girl down in the streets, thinking, it's cool because, like High Vibe said, because everything is funny. Yes, school teachers have your kids most of the year. It's a whole different ball game. I want to say I can't be your bro when your mama call me daddy. You want to fight, Elsid. You don't want to just choke the kids. You want to full out brawl. At the end of the day, I feel like this is part of the reason why, two things here. This is part of the reason why teachers need to be paid, because like Elsid said, that's 180 days. They have your kids most of the year minus the 8 weeks off in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to encounter, I don't know anything about Memphis, Arkansas, but if it's anything about like Memphis, Tennessee, we know that them kids are some hood kids. Let's be clear. We didn't watch Glorilla's sister crash out on the internet for most of spring. But this guy probably doesn't have any business in this situation because, he has some anger management issues. He was being disrespectful. However, we can't respond with violence, then get mad because the kids are violent. Exactly. So now he gonna learn how to respond in the same way. That's a conversation. That's a conversation to be had with the teacher and with somebody that he respects. Bruh, how was you coming in that classroom You know what I'm saying? To have this young man, you know what and I'm not going to say he's responsible for the way the kid responded, but it could have been a conversation like, what if I call you little pussy ass? Maybe not pussy ass. What if I called you, something other than what he is? You know what I mean? And you don't like it. So I don't like it when you call me bruh. Can we not disrespect each other? Like, I don't know how old the kid was. Did they say? I'm assuming middle school, old enough to have a real conversation with. Men like to, man to man and all of that. So like, why didn't he man to man with the boy? Not put hands on him. So everybody is not cut out to be in this environment either. Bruh, like I said, how are you conducting yourself as a teacher? Because I feel like based on the way you handle things, you might be suspect. I mean, in terms of, was it warranted? Obviously not. But and now when folks want longer school days, they don't want to pay teachers. And as a teacher, I'm sure they're tired of your badass kids. Whew. And that kind of behavior only sparks other. When I had that one class that had the audacity to say they wanted their money back unless I was their teacher, I'm like, then I got forced into being stuck with their ass who didn't want to be there in the first place. That's a whole nother long story, but it's interesting to me how, because my situation was there was one asshole, and for whatever reason, she had a little clique of girls that wanted to, let her be their leader. And I'm like, why do y'all want her to lead you? She's a failure in this classroom. She ain't got nothing going on. All you're going to do is end up in trouble hanging out with this person. They grown, but they young. In a classroom, one kid like that will then turn, the disrespect just kind of snowballs, and then you're dealing with it not with just one student, but a lot of students. So the other kids, wasn't they in Memphis too? You got one kids in Memphis over here saving the bus driver, and then you got other kids over here getting choked out for being disrespectful. Anyway, I'm a homeschool mom, so anybody getting choked out is, because their mama was mad. I have skipped this story. I've deleted it many, many times, but this lady came back with apologies. So we're going to listen to, I'm sure y'all have all seen it. This Houston let cop that was over here cussing out, black folks, or what she referred to as niggas.
The amount of times that I will always and forever say that I hate. Oh my God, I hate. Like, I hate y'all. Like, I don't. Oh, we were slaves this entire. I don't give a. Like, for a reason, you guys were slaves. You guys don't know anything better than a steal. Like, oh my fucking God. Like, I was literally eating food with my friend. He had his. Oh my God. Like, I don't know. Por Dios, por gracias de Dios. I had my fucking wallet next to me, like my whole purse, and those like that little small ass decided not to steal my wallet. Oh my God, I would have grabbed my heel and like whoop the out of that ass. But like whatever, right? Some other, but no homo or nothing. Y'all don't know how good it felt to say like out loud. Like goddamn, like oh my God, I felt like I was back. The amount of times that I felt like I was back in the Marine Corps. Like I kid you not. I don't know what the came over me. I grabbed that on the neck and I was like, "Come here, you." And oh my God, like I felt like the world just stopped. Like it was just peace. Like I don't know. And then he was just like even I in my head I was like, "Damn, pasaste," because I called him a dog. Like imagine. I felt like I was back in the Marine Corps. Like
so she's a former Houston police officer and a former Marine. A Houston police officer has been removed from active duty after a disturbing video circulating on social media appeared to show her making racist and discriminatory remarks. In the video, Officer Ashley Gonzalez allegedly appears to reference an off-duty incident that makes multiple racist statements, including saying she hated Black people. She also suggested that if she were to respond to a 911 call involving a Black individual, she would take them to jail. The video includes repeated use of racial slurs, including the N-word, and references to slavery. At one point, she said it felt good about directing the slur at a Black person. She said it made her feel peace. She felt it was like life-changing for her. This is somebody who has served as a Marine and as a police officer. So, the internet, does what it does, and she somehow, let me see what y'all saying before I move on to her apology. You said, I don't even know what she's talking about. She's talking about an incident where, she ran across somebody Black and she took them down, and, I don't know, she was drunk ranting. At some point, somebody took her wallet, but she was trying to make it clear that she can't stand niggas, period. She see why they were slaves. She don't care about that. And if she get a 911 call tomorrow, if the people is Black, they go into jail. She don't care. That's what she was over there saying. Oh, good. You said all I heard was slaves in an accent. I'll call Trump. And we can work it out after Trump going to change their name to Nice. But but you're right. She's doing a lot of talking. You know what I'm saying? But because she's talking the way they like, it probably won't work against her. It'll probably work in her favor. So this is her after, she's reaping the repercussions of her actions. Here we go. This is her. She's sorry.
I just feel really bad that I was just mentioned and it's just so toxic, and I'm just so sorry about that. That is, as you can see, that's not my content. That wasn't my content back then. And I don't know, I just feel really bad. And I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I think I just need to go to therapy. And I need to go to church. And I just need some self-reflection, honestly. Because that was just so nasty. But anyway, I just wanted to formally apologize and say I'm so sorry if I hurt your feelings. So anyway, I hope y'all can forgive me and just get over that nasty post. I deleted it. I just feel really bad. I just feel really bad that I was just.
So who feelings is she talking about? Did she hurt y'all's feelings? She didn't hurt my feelings. I feel like, she doing what I see a lot of people do. This is the kind of people that are working for the police department. Houston is another city full of Black folks. So, she's amongst a lot of people that she can't stand, and she chose a job as a police officer. What is the, we know they don't go through much training, much evaluation. You said, wait, when did she say that? Oh yeah, she's Latina over there in Houston, so she been that way. That's probably who gave her made her comfortable saying nigga. She's fired. She did absolutely hurt her pockets. But she's like, I just want to say I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm like, who are you talking to? That's not your content, girl. We know it wasn't your content. You wouldn't have posted that. So she went on that rant, and whoever she was with, was feeling some type of way about it. And it's funny because I have on more than one occasion had white people that are not from this country, because it's a lot of times people come and snowbird over here. It's been on more than one occasion. I have had white people that are not from this country, part-time live over here and come, sit in my chair for haircuts or what have you, and are completely thrown off by the shit that other white people feel comfortable saying in front of them. You know what I'm saying? And I've had on more than one occasion people tell me, like that. I was somewhere and the neighbor lady came over here and she said da 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 da. And so whoever she was with, she felt comfortable going on that rant, and they was like, "You're a freaking police." So yeah, she turned somebody put her on blast, because she didn't do it. She said that made her feel so rejuvenated and so good when she snatched that nigga and then called him a nigga. It's just like wings and clouds and butterflies happened in her head. Now she's sorry. She didn't mean to. It's it's whatever. But unfortunately for us, these are the types of people that work, for law enforcement a lot of the times, and in the military. So, whew, child, it's a jungle out there. You don't know, who out here running their mouth as a brown person, like T said. Girl, you better be concerned whether ICE is coming in your direction. Like we all do to some extent, but girl, shit. Anyway, let's get her out of here. Am I sharing the screen? Okay. This girl, I'm going to just touch on it because, because we're going to call it an update. Real Housewives of Atlanta star Drew Sidora has suffered another setback in her ongoing divorce battle after Georgia judge declined to reverse an earlier ruling requiring her to leave the home she shared with estranged husband Ralph Pittman. According to documents obtained by TMZ be working overtime. The judge was not persuaded by Drew's recent request to reconsider the prior decision, ordering her to vacate the Georgia residence. The court denied her motion, allowing the previous order to remain in place. Drew, you wasting time. You need to go ahead and get a deposit on somewhere now, girl. As previously reported, and the people said they get their check after the episode. So I watched, but I don't remember seeing her in this episode. Girl, you need a check so we can get out of this house. As previously reported, Drew was introduced to instructed to move out of the property by the end of May. The former couple had continued living under the same roof after separating in 2023 for 3 years. For God's sakes, both of y'all crazy. With Ralph reportedly staying in the basement while divorce proceedings continued. During a recent hearing, Drew urged the court to reconsider the move-out order. She argued that she had not secured a home and did not currently have financial means to relocate. Despite those claims, the judge ultimately refused to change the ruling. Girl, you gonna mess around and permanently lose custody of your kids. Playing. With the request denied, Drew must now prepare to leave the residence unless further legal action is taken before the deadline. The divorce case, which first filed in March 2023, remains unresolved and yet to be finalized. Do you think Drew is being treated fairly? I don't know. I think Drew is stupid. I think she's making her own situation worse. Good morning, Miami Gardens now. She needs to just move. He has custody and just be the weekend parent. It seems like that's probably the setup she really wants, but she over here wasting money to appeal something that she could have used as a down payment or a first month's rent. Just rent something, for God's sakes. This isn't even a time to be making permanent decisions. Like you can't find a home. Girl, stop. You can find a condo. She likes this drama. She's one of these people, I feel like, that's in a love affair with drama. So they keep it up. This nigga look crazy. Ew. Anyway. Yeah, so, I don't know what's going to happen with Drew. It's funny to me because I read this and then I saw this. Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles says she's ready to quit red carpet appearances after being charged $23,000 for glam, hair, and makeup. Now, I don't blame her. Simone Biles says it's about her money and doesn't like wasting a dime. She recently opened up about quitting red carpet appearances after being charged $23,000 by a hair, makeup, and glam team for a recent appearance. I think that's too much. I'm sorry. I'm in the industry, but I think that's too much. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're one of these bigger stars going to one of these, Academy Award events or something. You say her drama gives her a storyline. We don't like it. And I mean, for 3 years, though, that's one hell of a storyline that I can't do that for 3 years, wasting my life, being angry and upset all the time, dealing with this dude. They going back and forth. I think they get along sometimes and they don't. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, she's putting her kids in an environment that's unnecessary. I feel like her oldest son is being treated differently, than the other two children. I feel like she's just as big a problem as he is. Hey, Simone Biles, just Rhonda can do the hair and makeup. I mean, for half that, hell yeah, I can. I'm not a makeup artist. I could do her hair though. I feel like glam teams, you do need somebody who specializes in makeup. You need somebody, can keep your hair right. They was going at Simone in the beginning for, her hair. These braids are cute. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like 23,000 is a lot. I don't know, what red carpet she's talking about, but I do feel like half that is still a lot. Elcid, unless you're counting the cost of like an expensive gown or something that she's purchasing. But my point, in talking about this is this is kind of shit Drew Sidora. I'm kind of mixing the stories together, but this is the kind of stuff she's wasting her money on. And then to say she's going to be homeless. The other day she just said somebody on her team, said something disparaging about one of the other housewives. You can't afford an internet person right now. Then that wouldn't happen. If you wasn't paying somebody to run your internet, which I don't believe, but somebody tweeted or whatever, she has a whole team. Drew is notorious on this show for having an entourage. The people is always like, what the hell entourage are you having? It's the War of the Roses over there. I love that movie. And I think it's the War of the Roses, except for they're still sometimes smashing because we've seen them like acting all lovey-dovey. She claiming that, they meet at the garage or, at the driveway to switch the kids. You said, I don't care for Simone either. There's something inauthentic about her. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think, she's maybe a little bit colorist and, she's got that light-skinned man over there that, in that part. I don't feel no ways about Simone. She's amazing on at what she does as a personality. I think she doesn't really have a whole lot of personality. Maybe that's why you're getting the inauthentic and it's here. She's saying she don't even really feel comfortable on the red carpet. You know what I'm saying? Damn sure not enough to be spending $20,000 on a glam team. Who don't need a team? Drew, she doesn't. She got the lady over there. She's sponsoring wigs with Portia, so she's getting paid to do that. Drew definitely creeps down to that basement a few times a month. That's why, because in 3 years, come on. In 3 years, what is she doing? I like Simone. Like I said, I don't feel no ways about Simone. I think she doesn't have a great personality for being on public. I'm not talking about in her real life, but for being on public. She looks really pretty right here. So this makeup job, I would say, on a high end, let's go ahead and say $500 for the makeup. The hair, let's go ahead and say, and I'm giving you a high number, $1,500 for the hair. So where is the other Where's the rest of the money? Why is there $23,000? If I got a bill for that, I would be like her. She probably was like, yeah. Somebody was like, you're going on this red carpet. You need to have this person do this, do your makeup, this person do that. What is a team? You don't need a team. Your stylist. The stylist got the bulk of the money. Like, I got to go get this dress or whatever. Is she purchasing the dress? I don't know. But I think like 23,000, 5,000 seems like enough to me for a red carpet event, including, whatever. But whatever it is, she got that bill and said, no, thank you. So she need to holler at her sister, Drew Sidora, let her know that what we not going to do is be out here spending money on glams and, $20,000 little bags that we can't even fit our cell phone in just to be over here being glamorous. And I don't think Drew honestly give a damn about Ralph having custody of those kids. Because, she out here in these streets, flying all around, being glamorous. This story will not go away, child. So we're going to go ahead and get into it again. I don't know if y'all knew, and I'm letting the men speak today. The other day, we are out here Team Meg. We want to see Meg win. Oh, let me see what y'all say. The travel don't have nothing to do with glam. Glam is the glam, the hair, the makeup, even if I hire you to walk around with me all day, I don't think it's worth more than $1,000. I'm just saying. You mean to travel for the hair and makeup people? Then we only going with two. If I got to pay for travel, we're only taking that. Her hair is braided. I don't need that person to go with me. Her hair is in braids. Get your braids done where you at. You know what I'm saying? You got a person that does your hair. Your makeup person goes with you because you got to be, taking pictures. And if the people say, you on the red carpet, and they'll be like, she look busted. Look at her makeup. You say quiet as it's kept. She looks quiet as it's kept. Don't say glam team. Are you talking about Drew or are you talking about Simone? Simone, it doesn't say glam team. I don't ever remember her being on the red carpet where you're like, ooh, and if you're on like the Grammys or the Academy Award red carpet, then that's different. I feel like that's an expense to your brand just for you to be there. She need to bring up some chicks at local salons who can hook her up. I would have one. You know what I'm saying? But Simone said she ain't that girl anyway, that glam girl anyway. She not about spending all that money. Good morning, E-Troop. Okay, so we're going to get back into Meg. We are Team Meg over here, and it's nice to see that some of the men are Team Meg too. They're, some of the kids, like Rodney the Voice call them. But anyway, Slim Thug, if you don't know, has had a crush on Meg Thee Stallion, and she has multiple times told him no thank you. He's like definitely got a thing for Meg. And now that this whole thing has come out, the breakup, he has decided she doesn't have a chance with him. And I'm like, how is a nigga that I told no thank you in the nicest way I can go sit up here now and act like he's decided he don't want? Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all hear this fool.
That we ain't starting that today. I hate to see that. I'm not never rooting for that. But that's why, I can't be in that situation, because if you get in a situation like that, look what happens when it don't work out. How many times have I told y'all that, though? How many times have I came on here and say, nah, I don't want that because I don't want to get married, because they go, well, how many days every day I tell y'all what they gonna do? How many days you see me saying this, right? So that's why I just don't never sign up. You got me? So now you understand where I be coming from when I say what I say, right? Now you get it, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, but I hate to see that, though. No, I'm good. I'm a sugar baby. Acts of service is my love language, and it's been working. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been said that shit, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I won't even be able to be myself. And y'all was like, y'all was like, you Bobby, you want to do this? You mad? No, I know what that is. I can't deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I know I can't deal with that. I'm gonna be in trouble. I can't come on Thugger News. I can't talk shit. I'd be in trouble every day. Getting boycotted from everybody. You sorry, motherfucker. You did. You dog. You. So I don't even sign up for no shit like that. I like y'all can stop that. We ain't starting that today. I hate to see that.
He looked like he smelled like Trick Daddy. This is funny to me because every time I see Slim Thug, he in a car smoking a blunt. Like, who is it that he's not? Who are these women that are spending time with him? Elsie say, I'm not Team Meg. Megan has a bad picker and he ain't been ish for the longest time. I'm not even talking about necessarily. I'm not talking about her choices per se. I'm talking about how these men respond to Meg. It's weird. He's trying the Yo Gotti approach. I don't want you anymore, so maybe you'll give me a chance. It's not about her picker. I listen, I'm not here to be able to judge anybody's picker. I've made some choices in my lifetime. However, and I feel like we've all had a pick or so that was like, I wish I could erase that. She's a woman in entertainment and hip hop that speaks very woman positive, and they hate it. Everybody is chiming in. There's so many people who have chimed in on the breakup, but all coming at Meg. And it's weird. It feels like everything she does, Taylor Swift does it all the time. Taylor Swift makes a record every single breakup. Slim Thug is trying to prove what? Why he didn't? Right. No, he was like trying to get at Meg, and she said no, she's not interested. So now that the breakup is here, he's like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but this is why I told y'all in the first place, like, I couldn't be me. I couldn't be monogamous because I couldn't be myself. And I'm like, you sit in a car smoking blunts by yourself. You seem like you might as well be monogamous because I ain't seen you with nobody. You said your picks is way off, T. Yeah, I'm not going to judge her for having a bad picker. I can't, I can't be a hypocrite as far as that's concerned. You said that's why you backing no one in this case, folks, picking a side, and I'm not. I'm not picking a side either. Elle said, I feel like these two, I said it yesterday. She didn't read his Google reviews, but I also understand that, people want love, and, and you get clouded and you make bad decisions. She was moving very fast in this particular situation. So, she didn't have to do any of that. I'm just, my focus is on people break up all the time. These girls are out here putting shit on the internet all the time. Cardi B does it all the time. But men in particular come at Meg in a way that's so weird and so toxic. And so, yeah, I just find that to be interesting. I think the girls that are her friends in the industry were on some, it's okay, girl. Having a heartbreak is, is hard, and we're here for you. But the men have turned it into, she's a hoe. Why would she expect anyone to, want to be monogamous with her when she's a hoe and she sings about being a hoe, which she definitely does not, but that's okay because that's how they hear it. If a woman talks about how, the same way they talking about how she out here doing these niggas as a young woman out here dating, they don't want to hear that because, I guess it messes with their little masculine energy. They have to feel like they're the ones, they're in charge. They're better. They're more than. Hi, Vibe. What'd you say? You say your picker's been off a few times. Very glad I'm not famous. Yes. But this is the thing. Like I said, people break up all the time. Famous people break up all the time. but for whatever reason, they come at Meg in a way that's just like, I see why she want to take a break. I wish she wouldn't have. But I feel like it has less to do with, I mean, she's going through a heartbreak. So it made it easy for her to stop because the way people are going to come at her. Meg represents a woman who won. She's proved it in court of being, harmed her unprovoked. I'm glad you said that. So let's get into like some of the things, like a couple of content creators had to say from a different perspective, because it's been so toxic. But sometimes, men can't listen until they hear it from another man.
To the time that we have a conversation. I have been saying for years on this show that Black men need to have a conversation, Black men alone. We have got to figure out what is going on with us. This is not something that Black women can help us with. This conversation does not include Black women. Black women, stand down and stand to the side. Black men need to have a kumbaya amongst themselves. And I'm going to niche this out a little more. And it's heterosexual Black men. I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to say it out loud with my whole chest. Straight Black men are the cancer of the Black community. That's where it starts and that's where it stops. Ladies, I'm here to tell y'all something. All this shit that y'all got going on, some of y'all, not all of y'all, with the gays and with the trans, let it go. Your issue is not a trans woman. Your issue is not a punk or not a sissy. Your issue is all of our issue. Straight Black men. Straight Black men are the enemy to the gays. Straight Black men are the enemy to the trans. Straight Black men are who are causing harm to the girls and the women. That's where it's at. Now, y'all can shoot the messenger. Y'all can call me all type of faggots on the Shade Room and all the other blog sites that's going to pick this up and I'll eat it. But you'll never see a situation where girls and women walking around saying they scared of the gay boys. They scared of their life for the gay boys. They don't want to be around the gay boys. It ain't us going around with these fragile ass egos, can't take rejection. We've got to ask ourselves, and I don't even know if the Black straight male collective can even answer this question because their egos tend to be so fragile. How is it we are raising boys with these fragile ass egos that feel it is okay to slam girls on their head for saying no? Why is it that we have to make the females of the community make all the adjustments? It's not fair. Straight Black men are the cancer of the Black community. Argue with your mammy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now.
Argue with your mammy. Oh, I don't always agree with Funky, but I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna agree with that one. Same people will uplift the city girls, and they out here like being pygmies. What you call it? JT over there letting little Uzi with fingernails, earrings, and dresses and things is over there telling her what to do, and then Miami, she with the ultimate, I don't know what you want to call Diddy doo wop, Pop Daddy Diddy. They don't come at them the same way. Now they ain't gonna identify as straight. They're gonna have to change it to something else, crooked, because that's what they are. Funky then stop jumping down on Black women. That's what I said. I can take him, you know what I'm saying, in doses, because sometimes he be doing too much. But I'm gonna go ahead and agree with him on this one, because just based on the things, like 62 million nasty niggas is out there with a great academy where you could go over there and figure out how to, do nasty things to your wife without her knowledge. Like, that's the kind of shit they come up with. And in the same way, they coming at Meg because she got shot in the foot. She got shot in the foot, and this is their logic. She got shot in the foot, and Tory Lanez claims he didn't do it, even though we know the whole story, and the whole conversation was about she slept with him, but she slept with him and she lied, but she had sex with him and she lied. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure she regrets the day that she ever let this little midget troll touch her. But again, the picking has nothing to do with the fact that this dude pulled a trigger. Pow, 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 pow. I believe there were 5 shots. And then they say she didn't get shot in the foot. She's making that up. She slept with him. The logic is nuts. Like, one thing has anything to do with the other. And I'm like, why do they hate her so much? It's because, because she's a woman empowered in spite of all the things that she's been through. What'd you say? What I do now? Don't use the M word. I don't even know which M word I said, but I'll try not to say it. I'll try not to say it. Here's another content creator.
Respect Megan Thee Stallion after she announced that her and Klay Thompson broke up because he was cheating on her, are using this moment to get their rocks off about the Tory Lanez situation because they were not able to publicly say how they really felt about the Tory Lanez situation after he was found guilty because it would have damaged their reputation. And the truth of the matter is that they're all cool with violence against women, especially Black women. And I'm about to prove my point right now. Let's start off with Cameron, who I'm disappointed in as a New York City rapper. He says that she raps about being promiscuous and then is surprised that Klay Thompson don't want to be monogamous with her. Now, let's make a comparison. You rap about illegal things. Should that be used in a court of law? Should that be used against you in a court of law? And is she rapping about being promiscuous, or is she just rapping about women's pleasure? The same way you said, baby girl, I'm in love with the missionary back. Top it off, slap it off. I tell you right now with my soft before and after. Top it off on your knees. Remember that? So should a woman not want to be monogamous with you because you said that in your lyrics? Grandmaster Coon, Stephen A. Smith. He says that Megan Thee Stallion should have never come to the internet to tell us about her breakup with Klay Thompson. But when she did try to keep her intimate life private and didn't want to put y'all in her business, y'all called her a liar. When she didn't want to tell y'all who she was hunching on for good reason, y'all labeled her as a liar and tried to say that she was not the victim after being shot. DJ absolutely no academics. This man screams free Tory louder than anyone I've ever seen in my entire life. To be a grown man, schedule a conjugal visit and move on. See, this is not about her breakup from Klay Thompson and whether or not people feel like she's right or wrong. They're using this as their moment to get their rocks off on another Black woman because they don't feel like Tory Lanez should be in prison for what he did to this Black woman. A lot of the men who are choosing to publicly disrespect Megan Thee Stallion after she announced that her and Klay Thompson broke up because he was cheating on her are using this moment to get their rocks off about the Tory Lanez situation.
Agree. I just don't ever really understand like why the energy, it's two people broke up. I can understand if people were saying, oh my God, don't put it on the internet. Because, a lot of times people be doing too much on the internet. Oh my God, keep it secret. But they're coming at her in a way like, and it's funny. They listed all the people, because I heard what Cameron was saying. And then I just, had to turn him off because I don't go over there on their podcast because it's a lot of that kind of conversation over there. But he was saying like she's in her song, she's naming off like all these mad rappers, but Party has something to say. The one of her exes is online talking about it. Like you always, and she said it in one of her songs, like how these guys try to get clout off of being with her. But she it's all still he say she take. It's all still he say, she say. Yeah, I'm not picking a side because I kind of don't care what happened. Did he cheat? Probably. But they keep bringing up these list of people that she has been with. when Clay has a whole list of women that he's cheated on. Like there's a whole, I think it's Layla Lynn did a whole story on how he writes down, he has a diary, he has a cheat diary. And like I said, that doesn't matter. The thing is, like, the hate towards her is so, I don't know. I just don't understand it. It's like they're so emotional about her in particular. Is it because they can't, or they haven't, or they've got turned down? Like Funky Dineva said, they get so like bent out of shape as if they're entitled to you, rather than, if I say no, then it's an issue. You said black men are treating Meg the same way white people treat OJ verdict. They won't be happy until Meg is, and why though? Like, why is it that you feel that way about her? She's not even Lotto is out there with same kind of music. Like, she's not the only one popping her shit. That's what the girls are doing. But, they got it against her bad. It's somebody, who the hell is Tory Lanez? Let's hear what Ryan Clark has to say. He generally comes from a place of intelligence.
Is Clay and Meg. And I get it, right? It's content gold. Future Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer publicly dates one of the biggest names in hip hop, and they're propped up on this celebrity relationship pedestal. And then in a very public split, there's an insinuation of infidelity. And so that's like inviting scrutiny or criticism or opinions. And there's this rush to get your content out so you can get the clicks and so you can get the views. And if you make it entertaining and if you make it funny, then more people watch it. So I think I even get that part. I don't get this incessant need for grown men to shame or to insult or to bring up someone's past or the way that they do their jobs and insinuate, or in some situations, downright admit you believe that means someone should be treated negatively or disrespected or lied to or demeaned or thrown away. And then that's when people start to take sides. And if you look at women specifically, they've backed Meg, in particular, Black women. And if you sit back and you look at the reactions, you say to yourself, they have to, because if they don't, then no one will. As we prop these relationships up, we forget that these humans are flawed and that they're imperfect, but they have feelings. And we bring up the past without bringing up that one of the parties involved was also shot. And in being shot, had to process that, had to heal from that, had to live with that trauma. And so now Meg is stepping away from a historic opportunity on Broadway in Moulin Rouge to make sure that she's fit to just move on with life. And so I think what we need to do is remember that all of these people who are commenting on their relationship, who aren't married, you know how dating works, and you should also know how hard it is to find your forever person. And if you are married, you know it's even harder to keep that forever person, even when it's just your two, much less the entire world in your business. And so I think what that says to me is, let's be more patient. Let's be honest about the fact that we don't have all the information. And if you aren't reporting facts and you're just giving your opinion, or you're just criticizing, or you're scrutinizing, or you're insulting, be honest about what you're doing. You're gossiping. A ton of my timeline is Clay and
I appreciate you, Ryan. I feel like it's more than just gossiping, though. I'm with you, High Vibe. They retaliating. They're retaliating against her because I think they feel like, she got one of theirs and they go get her back. I don't know, though. I almost feel like there was a lot of hate for her from the male persuasion even before that happened. You said them BM are just upset they let Tory Lanez. Yeah. Like, what? She let him sniff it? And yeah, absolutely. You're so glad your boo didn't say anything wrong. I wouldn't expect him to. He kept it light. I think, unfortunately, the type of man that thinks the way they are out here thinking, they ain't listening. They ain't gonna hear what he's saying. You know what I mean? Because they feel like they're entitled. It's just the disrespect is disgusting. It's because of Tory, period. One of their own was held accountable. Yeah. And I'm like, who the hell is Tory Lanez? I'm still like, why? Why is he so important to you niggas? We have to face criticism. Mass of black male don't like black women to feel entitled. I feel like they don't think that we should be upheld. You hear queen this, queen that. I was listening to, and a lot of it is programming. I was listening to the three young men on the Jams podcast. No, there's four of them. I was listening to them the other day, and they were just discussing like how toxic masculinity is something that they have to undo. And they were talking about, one of them said he was with his girlfriend and she wanted him to come with her to get nails done. Just a pedicure, not anything, you know what I'm saying? She just wanted him to get a pedicure, clear polish, whatever. And he said he wouldn't do it because something in him, made him feel like it was too feminine. Then after they broke up, he moved in with his friend and one of the other guys on the pod, and he said they went together. The friend was like, "Hey, let's go get pedicures," and all of a sudden he was open to it. And he, and I appreciate that he recognized that. But they were talking about how little things happen within their own, and these are young boys. Maybe that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? They're not too old to be set in their ways, but we're just talking about how they have to undo some of the foolishness that, has been inbred in this society as, simple respect and not feeling like just because something, it's like feminine is bad to them. I don't know why that is. He loves his friend more. He recognized that it was just something, like I said, that they're bred to believe and feel. It's in them, and that he has to, it's an undoing. It's an undoing of a lot of things that need to happen around here. Have y'all been shopping with Shein and Temu? I have. This one is about Shein. Shein is now being sued for selling clothes with highly toxic chemicals, 3,269 times the legal limit. Shein is under fire, facing multiple lawsuits, including one filed in February 2026 by the Texas Attorney General alleging its clothes contain dangerous levels of toxic chemicals. I've seen the same thing said about Lululemon. Investigations have cited these cases, claim items were found with PFAS, forever chemicals, levels up to 3,269 times above safety limits. Some children's clothing reportedly contain harmful toxins 3.5 times the threshold. Independent testing includes a 2025 Greenpeace investigation. Okay, let me finish. Found 32% of products exceeded EU safety standards, with certain items surpassing PFAS limits up to 3,300 times. Who are the people checking this? I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying like it ain't just Shein. They need to call everybody to the carpet then. And who's checking? Because right now we have an administration that doesn't care about anything Greenpeace, for one thing, FDA, CDC, and anything to protect us. So who decided that, who pissed off? Who does Shein piss off? Beyond toxic concerns, Shein is also facing RICO-related allegations tied to systemic intellectual property theft. Okay, well, I guess I answered my own question. Along with claims it failed to disclose potential access to user data by the Chinese government, raising privacy concerns. Bingo, here's the real problem. Altogether, these allegations highlight serious risks tied to fast fashion, especially for vulnerable groups like children and pregnant women. Oh, because they care about the children and the pregnant women the most. As some of these chemicals can be absorbed through the skin and build up in the body over time. I guess, on one hand, I call bullshit. I think this is more about, more about business and less about concern for people. And the other thing is we have to be cognizant of, what we're putting on our bodies. So we have to investigate a little bit more. I feel like right now we have to investigate everything you do, every little move you make. You need to be careful, because now the clothes is killing us. If it ain't the meat, it's chicken, it's the fish, and now the clothes. You said you back? No, stop buying Shein. Lotus, it's gonna be not just Shein though. Like, if you're gonna stop there, it's because they're all buying from the same people. It's in Shein, it's in Temu, it's in Amazon, it's in everywhere where you order stuff from. So, they got a beef with Shein, but if the clothes are toxic, all these places are getting them from the same place. Forever 21, anywhere where you can get instant fashion. It's because they're taking money away from these high-priced stores, and it's also getting their products from the same companies. Yeah, they're getting their clothing from the same companies, and the high-priced stores are included. You know what I'm saying? With a lot of that stuff, they mad because they can't slap a higher price tag on it. So now down to the, Saks Fifth Avenue, they was making bigger profits. But now that, we can get fast fashion, it's an issue. I'm not saying they're wrong. It might be true, but it ain't just Shein. That's all I'm saying. I need hair. Got to find a story you did about the organic black hair. Buyblack.org. I believe that's the website. Buyblack.org, and you can go over there and find black-owned things, but they do have the hair, and I'm sure you can put organic in there, and they'll lead you in that direction. The lingerie at Shein was cute and affordable. I hope it got nothing on me. I mean, they said it's forever, so if you put it in a washing machine, it's not gonna wash it off. So don't wear the clothes, don't eat the chicken, don't eat the beef, don't, drink the water, and don't breathe the air, and you should be fine. Whew. Child, it's hard. It's a jungle out there. We just scraping and surviving good times. Okay, I'm gonna end it here, and y'all can go back to work. We just spent half the day over here, half the morning. So there were increasing calls for dismissal of the teacher after a video of her surfaced online. I don't understand the reason for this. I believe she made the lesson interactive and enjoyable, helping the children engage with her. Do you think her approach is problematic? I think she should be left alone. I agree. I think she should be left alone. It seemed like these kids was, learning.
Almost there. Count it out. Hey! Count it out. Hey! Count it out. Hey! Count it out. Hey! Do it how you do it. Okay, count it out. Hey! Do it how you do it. Okay, count it out. That's a quarter. 25. And a nickel. That's 5. And a penny. 1 cent. And 10 cents is a dime. Do it how you do it. Okay, count it out. I said, do it how you do it. Okay, count it out. That was perfect.
I love it. Why they mad at her? What's wrong with them? Is that because the little white kids is coming home talking about turn it out? It can't be, because I see white grandmamas and grandpas and uncles and aunts and all kinds of things on TikTok, dancing to Cardi B and stuff. So this is another example of the administration being mad because the kids are learning and having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to this teacher. She's not trying to touch the kids. She's not trying to choke the kids. She's trying to teach the kids, and y'all don't like it. Well, that's all I got for today. Y'all got to go back to work. The people said y'all been over here too daggone long. They said it's time for lunch and no longer time for coffee. So y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow, 10:15. See you when I see you. Bye, y'all.